guys, I'm in my secret garden with the dog. Chapter 3. It took the girls a good 5 minutes to stop laughing. Finally, the one with the ponytail gave one last chortle, wiped the tears from her eyes, and sighed. "Now let me see," she said, smiling sweetly at Pete and me. "Which one of you is the brother of the moose, and which one of you is brother of the duck?" That set them off again. They cracked up and practically fell off the boulder they were sitting on. They moved close to the beach while we had been splashing around, rescuing our gear from the water. I guess they wanted a front row seat. Pete and I tried to ignore them. We exchanged a long, disgusted look just to show we were above such childish behavior. Then we gathered our stuff together and checked it over. Luckily, we packed all our supplies in waterproof bags, so everything was dry. Except us, of course. We were soaking wet. Every time we moved, our tennis shoes made a loud squishing noise. "Care to see your pictures, guys?" It was the dark-haired one with the ponytail again. She seemed to be the leader and had a challenging way of looking at you, like she knew what you were thinking or something. She had a color photograph in each hand. "Oh no," I groaned quietly. Pete froze, right in the middle of trying to wring out the corner of his buckskin shirt. "Pictures? Of us?" "Sure," she said, chin up and blue eyes twinkling. "I got one of each of you with my Polaroid. Want to see?" Her friend with the hang glider t-shirt giggled. "Yeah, take a look," she urged. "They're great. Jill got each of you just as you hit the water." Now that I think about it, I guess that's when I should have gotten tough. After all, there are times to be nice, and there are times to be tough. This was a time to be tough. I probably should have just looked this Jill girl right in the eye and said something like, "Okay, sweetheart, get this and get it good. You're gonna fork over those pictures right now, or I'm gonna smash that fancy little camera of yours in a million fancy little pieces." But instead, all I said was, "Thanks, but we don't care much for snapshots, do we, Pete?" I could feel my ears turning red. Why'd I have to say that? Pete, meanwhile, had been moving slowly closer to the girls, sort of leaning forward like a bird dog on the scent, trying to get a better look at the pictures. When he got about 3 feet away, he stopped, gaped at them for a second, and then choked. He made a grab for him. Jill whisked them behind her back. Now, she scolded. "Mustn't take things that don't belong to you. Besides, we're very fond of these pictures. We're going to frame them and keep them always." Making sure to keep them out of Pete's reach, she passed one of them to her friend. "Here, Sonny," she said. "You can have Mr. Moose, and I'll take Mr. Duck." They burst into giggles again. That did it. A guy can only take so much. I charged over and I stood next to Pete. "Look, you two," I blurted. "Don't you have anything better to do? Pete and I are kind of busy." "Yeah," put in Pete. "Why don't you just go get in your rowboat or whatever you came in and go back to where you came from?" "Yeah, this is our island," I added, sort of stretching it a little. "Your island?" said Jill, raising her eyebrows. "What makes it your island? We were here first. Maybe you should leave." "Leave my foot," snapped Pete. "We're going to be camping here for the next week." "Oh, good," said Sunny as she hooked her long blonde hair behind her ears. "We're going to be here about 9 days ourselves. Maybe we can go fishing together or something." Pete and I stared at her. "You're camping on the island?" croaked Pete. "I thought you were just here for a picnic or something." "No, we've been here since yesterday," said Sunny matter-of-factly. "We're camping on the other side of the island with Jill's Aunt Catherine. We got a great spot, too, right next to the water." Pete and I stared at each other. Camping on our island? 2 girls camping on our island? We were stunned. How were we going to tame the wilderness with our bare hands and laugh in the face of danger with them around? "Well," said Jill cheerfully, sliding off the boulder and readjusting the camera strap on her shoulder, "unless you guys are going to do some more water sports, I guess we'd be going." "Yeah," said Sunny. "Jill's aunt said maybe she'd show us how to build a bird blind before she goes on her owl watch tonight. She's a wildlife photographer, you know." They started off across the clearing, with Jill in the lead. "See you later," chirped Sunny. Pete and I stood there, speechless, watching them go. They sauntered off, looking carefree and unconcerned, as if it were all in a day's work to horn in on someone else's island and crush their dreams of glory, not to mention watching us make complete fools of ourselves. "Why can't they trip over their own feet or something?" I thought to myself as they neared the woods. "Why can't they run into a tree? Why can't they—" Jill stopped and turned around. She studied the photograph in her hand for a few seconds and then looked up again. "Oh, Mr. Duck," she called in a sing-song voice. I think she was referring to me. Mr. Duck, she continued sweetly, may I give you a little advice? You really could improve your diving 100% if you just keep your legs straight and remember to point your toes. Before I could open my mouth to answer, she turned and the two of them disappeared into the woods, giggling up a storm. I could feel my ears getting red again. I glanced over at Pete. He looked grim. His lips were pressed together and his eyes were narrowed. Even though his buckskin shirt was still dripping wet, he did still look like a frontiersman with a purpose. You know what this means, don't you? He said grimly. This means war. Right, I said just as grimly. Our honor's at stake. Nothing more needed to be said. It was decided. Somewhere on Turtle Island, there were two girls who were going to wish they had never tangled with a certain Mr. Moose and Mr. Duck. And that's chapter 3. You guys are doing good.